What up, y'all? I hope you're doing well. Shabbat Shalom. This is Friday. I just got in from a fun little event that I attended. There was a presentation on this year's astrology by a woman named Gina Picano, maybe. But anyway, there's like 5 planets changing houses this coming year. I think 5. It's all the large, like big, giant, major outer planets that are changing signs. And this year's, it's turned up to 11. It is. I mean, if this was like the series, Life the Series, it's going to get pretty suspenseful. Pretty whack this year, but things are gonna be feeling pretty nerve-wracking, pretty bleak at times, but we are going to pull together as a human society and prevail and overcome. So there's going to be, the biggest thing that stood out to me was there's going to be a big close call at the end of the summer, early fall. But hopefully the astrology around that was that it takes a turn, a miraculous turn for the positive, like a close call that fizzles out, or like the divine intervention or something. And that might not be there might not be real relief from that uncertainty in that situation until like the beginning of 2026. So this is going to be a pretty wild year, which I already was anticipating from my own 2025 prediction series, which you can download from the description box below. It is $10. It's an invaluable resource to have through the year. You've got like a yearly overview, quarterly breakdowns, and month-to-month readings. Plus, with each individual video, there are a few journal questions to help you set your consciousness, stay in alignment with your goals, stay in alignment, period. Just not fall off the rails, but really keep yourself in check this year. It's going to be a really, really good self-help tool to fall back on. It's going to be important that we're able to, self-regulate and keep our nervous system regulated this year, because there's just going to be a lot of anxiety and a lot of stimulus, right? It's going to be kind of overwhelming at times. So we need to be able to have that regular spiritual practice and ways that we can also take care of our nervous system as well, specifically. So, because that's its whole own energy body that needs attention. And I've been learning that over the last couple of years. And To Be Magnetic work is great for that, because they already have so many resources and tools specifically designed to work with your nervous system. So I always suggest that. And my affiliate link with a discount code, I think it's 15% off per month, is down below. The thing with their membership, though, when you lock yourself in, you do have to stick around for the whole year. So you can pay it all up front or do a monthly subscription. But honestly, I've never regretted it. With my discount, I think mine is like $20 a month. And it's an amazing resource to have. There's like workshops for every major area of your life. So those are just some nice tools to fall back on this year. And also the third is that go follow the Kabbalah Center on Instagram. They're advertising Kabbalah 1. It's an on-demand course. It's a great way to jump in and start learning Kabbalah at your own pace. But that has been an invaluable resource. But if you sign up for an account on their website, you can get a lot of access to a lot of their videos and written articles. And you can start taking the entry-level courses. And then if you become a member, I think it's like $49.99 a month, but you have access to pretty much everything. But the Kabbalah with To Be Magnetic plus like my religious beliefs is like, and then round the clock self-help. I'm really making it through. So all of those things I highly recommend. All right, let's get into our reading. So I had a lot going on today, so I didn't have time for our usual format with the Radiant Sun Oracle and the Dreaming Way Tarot. So I thought I'd do something fun, and we'd do an off-the-cuff reading with the Wisdom of the Hidden Realms Oracle this is one of Colette Baron Reed's early decks, which I love her cards. I always have, and I haven't used them in a while, so this is going to be fun. And then we will use the Dreaming Way Tarot with this one. Yeah, awesome. So let's get into it. What do we need? This is our weekend reflection message. So as we look back on this week, it's like, what are our important highlights? What are our important lessons? So the cosmos, no shite. Creativity and vastness. Wow. So before the moment of the creation, the universe was void and without form, and chaos hovered over the waters. And when we are in the midst of creation, sometimes it feels like everything is just being torn apart, and we have to go into a very dark place and almost have our unbecoming and then be remade a new creature. Like the caterpillar goes into the chrysalis and is melted down into a soup of imaginal cells and is unrecognizable, but then comes back reborn into this new, evolved, transformed figure of a butterfly, right? So the cosmos be cosmoing right now for sure. Trials and tribulations for, no one can escape this. Any kind of, we are all being shown our deepest, darkest fears all over the world right now. You name it. I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes. We got natural disasters. We got aliens. We've got fascist takeovers. We got, you name it. Everything. Name a fear. It's here. It's here for you now. So, regardless of what you have to worry about, it's showing up, and it's like, hey, are you going to be consumed by my fear? Are you going to pay attention to me? And so we're being faced with all of this because it's awakening in us this deeper desire, more so than ever, to have that spiritual connection with the Creator, with the Messiah, with the cosmos, with that, higher power, that we know is just everywhere and in all things. And so the discomfort that is purging all of the refuse to the surface right now. That's what happened in the early stages of creation. It was like this fire and ice collided when the waters and the firmaments were coming together, and there was this separation of this material that was pulled out of the pure, the water and the fire were burning and freezing, and there's this freezing fire of ice and all of these different elemental processes going on, and this dark density refuse is what it's called in the prologue to the Zohar, was separated from what was the pure material that would become the cosmos. And that's kind of what's happening again. It's like this festering has come to the surface to be dealt with and addressed. So, and it's a very, it looks like there's this vast emptiness, oh my gosh, we've expanded our vessel, we want something more, now we feel empty and scared, oh my God, because now there's this change and all of these crazy things and this initial upheaval that usually comes before great evolution. During the presentation of the astrology over the year, there's so much happening, and I can't remember every aspect and what it meant, but general highlights are revolutionary change. When we have an unprecedented astrological year, it hasn't been like this in human civilization since we were able to have communicate through the written word. It is a humankind shifting of the eras in major ways. And so the other times in history that have had these all five aspects that are happening this year came with crazy revolutionary results. For instance, all of the industrial revolutions, all of the American wars and revolutions, all of the the women's right to vote, women's suffrage, inventions, like throughout, like going back into like even in medieval inventions and things like that in the Renaissance, and like major things that shifted the way people were forever. Like it was talking about the beginning of publishing, right, in the 1600s, how that shifted the way the information was available to people. Technological revolutionaries of like the beginning of the computers in the 70s, and like so there is definitely like, oh, and then like the moving of like borders and things came up. It was nuts. Revolution of people. So there is a lot of upheaval and discomfort and unsettling things happening at the beginning of this initial onset, but I like humanity starts to pull together even before the end of this year and like next year. So it's like it's really pulling mankind together. So we're really centering around a central cause. So oh yeah, she was also saying about how technological advancements in medicine all going very quickly, and then aliens, like extraterrestrials, AI, all of these things are going to be starting to become more prevalent and more prominent in our daily experience, and like how that affects our culture and like society and civilization as we know it. Everything's shifting. So major things. So when things are in instability, that's usually a time of great creation too. The dark feminine breaks down and destroys and takes apart, but also creates and makes life. So it's very interesting and terrifying and unsettling and awe-striking to be alive right now, just watching the orbs. That's the thing that's least concerning to me right now is all of the UFOs and extraterrestrial company that we're getting. So crazy. All right, let's see. What else do we need to know? Let's think about this. The camel boy, small steps and asking for help. Another theme this year had to do with like getting together more, like closer with our close knit people, like the circling of the wagons, like really forming community and getting friend groups back together again, and not isolating and feeling all of this overwhelming shifts. Like 5 major planets are shifting into another sign. So like things are going to be like there's going to be change and upheaval and turbulence and moving and shaking and all kinds of stuff. So we need people around us who love us and support us and can be there through different times and different experiences that we might be going through and different challenges that we might be having. So it's good to have people. So that's going to give us a lot of the nourishment and the comfort and the security that we're looking for, to pull back away from all of the noise and the everything grappling for your attention and for your opinion and your allegiance. And instead we're going to be withdrawing more and pulling back and hanging in with our people. And so she was talking about, people may not be they might be more conscious about the time that they're spending on the internet, which I think that this was probably like a good time to get back into like email lists again and doing email newsletters. And I've been meaning to get mine back for a while. I mean, I love doing it. It was like a little zine. It was a beautiful little newsletter. It had articles and like imagery and stuff from my Etsy shop, and it would have like the link to like the upcoming videos or like recent posts and stuff. So it was really nice. It was a beautiful little zine to open up and read, but it does take a couple of hours every week to do. So, it just kind of fell off, but I need to pick that back up again because it's a good way to be able to have like intimate connection with your community, and be able to write articles that are bigger than maybe what like a post will allow you. But then within that same letter, you can have, here are Like, because, the algorithm, it just hides everybody's material, right? And there are creators where I miss seeing their posts, and I don't want to just see reels. I want to see their photo carousels and like the things that they wrote and stuff. So it's a good way to send people, like, this is the weekly stuff that you might have missed. You can go directly through these links, for these recent posts, right? So there's a lot of nice things about that, but it's just about like, building our relationships and building our community and building our intimate circles and that support group again, becoming more of a tribal like society where we take care of one another in a village, kind of dynamic, rather than being so self-sufficient and isolated and thinking that you have to take everything on yourself, because then that leads to feelings of overwhelm and futility. So the camel boy, small steps and asking for help. So we talked about asking for help, taking small steps. So this is good to not get into like overwhelm. It's just to do small doable steps, but take consistent steps toward your goals. And it gets hard to when we are taking all of this stimulus in and just not knowing like when to draw the line. We get sucked in for hours at a time. Then we're spent and we're emotionally drained. And then it's really hard to give yourself to your dreams, right? And I mean, regardless of what side you're on or what conditions we're living in at any given time and why, what's causing them, we can't put our gifts on hold. We can't put our joy on hold. We can't put our life on hold. We've got to keep showing up, whatever the day brings us, because this is like what makes life worth living. It's the beauty and it's the love and it's the creation that we share with one another, so we can't let go of our dreams and our goals, because time goes by fast and we can't spend time just in shell shock. I like to use the show The Chosen as a reference all the time because it's so helpful. But usually any show that I'm watching really like addresses whatever I'm going through in the moment, and it gives me some kind of little morsel of goodness for that day. But particularly with The Chosen, and we're on the episode now, we, as in all of us in here, where they're preparing for the Sermon on the Mount, and Jesus is picking up a little bit of the political attention from the Pharisees and the Romans, and they're wondering, like, he's kind of gaining a following. This is going to maybe cause disturbances. Like, Romans don't know how to, like, what to make of Jesus yet. So, and then the disciples are kind of under the understanding that they're eventually going to attract unsavory attention and probably get in a lot of trouble for what they've already learned with John the Baptist. So, who's always getting arrested. So they were like kind of already like nervous, and then so they're preparing for this sermon and knowing that the spotlight has been growing on them, and they're like, oh my gosh, we're kind of exposed. Kind of worried about Jesus, and Jesus is like, we're just going to keep going forward. We're going to keep taking these steps forward, and we're not going to let our mission go because of whatever. This is part of the territory, right? We got to keep on going, keep on spreading the good news. And so one day when they're preparing for this big sermon, this big event that's going to happen, the Romans show up and they arrest Jesus and they want to take him in for questioning. And so everybody's hysterical. Everybody's so worried. And Jesus is like, look, it's okay. This isn't it. This isn't the big moment. Like, I'll be back. Like, just continue on. We need to be prepared. Just keep doing what you're doing. Make sure that we're ready to go for the big day. So Jesus goes to get questioned. Everybody's freaking out. They're trying to figure out if they're going to bust him out of jail. Like, what are they going to do? They're beside themselves. They're panicked. They're like, they're sick. They're catastrophizing. They're fighting amongst themselves. They're grouchy. They're short. They're in panic. And eventually they're still just like, it's like late at night, and they're still just like, white knuckling it through. Jesus shows up and they're like, oh my God, Jesus is back. And he's like, yeah, I've been back. I was working on my speech. He was like, is everything ready to go? And they're like, why didn't you tell us you were back? We've been worried sick. We haven't done anything. And he goes, well, I told you everything would be fine. You don't trust me. Like, it's me. And they're like, no, we didn't know what to think. We thought you would never come back. We thought you were going to be life in prison. We didn't know what to think. And he's like, well, you can't shut down every time you get afraid, because it's only going to get more difficult from here. And you will be persecuted for your beliefs. And you're going to have to be able to be courageous and brave and live with the fact that this is risky business. And yeah, I think that that's so true. I mean, just all of January, all the people that were there tonight, we were all mingling before and after, and everyone was reporting similar, like just having such heaviness through January, having a hard time focusing and really like getting a lot done, and just feeling like all the weight of it all, and feeling also like, okay, this has got to be sustainable. I've got to get my healthy routines back in check kind of mood. So small steps, keep moving forward. I keep thinking of how, I don't know if it's toxic or not, but boy, it sure did work. But like in World War II, Britain had that campaign that was like, keep calm and carry on. Like that's that line, that trend that was happening for like around 2013 that was like, keep calm and blah, blah, blah. And it has like the crown. That came from a campaign to keep people encouraged to keep on keeping on during World War I. And it was from the British government or the monarchy or whatever, whoever sent out that message. But it was like, keep calm and carry on. And it's like, we kind of have to just keep calm and carry on. We can't bury under the rug. We have to continue to face and process and re-regulate, but continuing to do good things will keep us feeling better and better and more encouraged. Inspired action relieves overwhelm and anxiety and depression. So what do we have here? We've got the fire prince, optimism and aggression. So definitely feeling the juxtaposition of those two Mars influences right now. We've got on the one side fiery optimism and fiery aggression. Overall, the astrologer Gino from tonight felt hopeful and optimistic, but not without some turbulence on the way to change. So, we're going to have to keep up our optimism and be careful not to become aggressive, because what happens when we criticize and judge, even if justified, is that in our vitriol and vigor, in that criticism and judgment and anger, we become that thing. So we've got to be take care to be optimistic without being overbearing or heavy-handed, but be productive, right? Take productive action rather than getting involved in adding to division, right? We can't add to division right now. That is what is going to weaken our strength, but we need to start building a sense of human family and togetherness and unity. That gives us strength and power. And let's see, what do we have? The High Lord of Gratitude and Service, Selflessness, Humility, Conscious Action. All right, so we are here to do this. Like, if we were ever put on earth for anything at any given moment, at any time, and this is like what we were born for, obviously it's now. It's here and now. It's in these times. The scales of the cosmos are in flux right now. We are able to tip the scales of reality and of the battle of light and dark. We're in these times. That's why they're becoming so polarized and so extreme. And so that's another thing that somebody was saying to the astrologer at the end. We were just like, saying hi and thank you and asking final questions, mingling. This girl was like new to the idea that we choose to come here and take on these assignments at a certain time and place with certain people on purpose. And that is a lot to grapple with at first, but if you can get over the indignation that you feel about that, then everything starts to make more sense and it feels much more empowering rather than victimized by your life. However, on that note, yes, and that did come up. It's like, yeah, we are here. We actually chose this. She's like, I can't believe I chose to come down here this time. I can't believe it. I'm like, yeah. And I was like, have you ever seen the movie Terminator? And so my other girl that I was talking to, she was like, yes. And I was like, I have felt like my whole life, like I am supposed to be like a Sarah Connor. And I was like, and now like the literal plot of like Terminator is kind of becoming like real. It's like this fascist, like robots are going to be after us. And there's aliens and, lasers and everything. Like, I mean, what genre are we even in as far as like action, sci-fi, political thriller? Like I hope some like romance and like a little bit of comedy can be twisted in to this symphony of apocalypse right now. Oh my God. So, it's Verdi's Requiem. You guys listen to it. It's that opera that they use in every like end of days movie when they're like, it's about the end of days, it's about the apocalypse, it's about the Antichrist. It's an amazing piece of music, but that when you hear that and all the big drums start to crescendo in the back, that's that la 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 la. Verdi's Requiem. Okay, so High Lord of gratitude and service, selflessness, humility, conscious action. So we are like sit here as souls, some of us star seeds, who knows, but we are in our little flesh suits. We came to this physical incarnation to be here right now and be like agents through this, agents of change, agents of ushering in humanity through this shifting of the eras. It's what a time to be alive, right? So in a way, like in my like prophetic dreams where I'm like the Sarah Connors character, I'm driving in the midst of this really eerie, scary night where there's some kind of impending threat, and the sky it looks almost like this. It's like dark and brown clouds and like kind of a glowing red sky, and I'm trying to drive and like round everybody up, get my family together, get all my friends and the people I care about, try to get them to safety. But like I can't get anybody to take me seriously and pay attention to what I'm saying. And I'm like, no, you don't understand. And everybody's just like kind of blowing me off and they won't get in the car. And I'm like, oh my God. So and now it's like here we're at this moment where I'm like, oh my God, in my dream, I would see this futuristic city that felt very familiar, but it felt like Nashville where I live, but it didn't look like Nashville where I lived at the time. But it felt familiar. And now it's so crazy because the skyline has changed because the city has grown so much, and now it looks like the Nashville in my dreams. So crazy. So having said that, even though these are crazy times and it feels like we cannot handle what is before us and what is going on, and it's overwhelming, we don't know what to do. We do know what to do because this is what we were born for. And we cannot fight this. We cannot avoid it. We can't run away from it. We're in a global situation in so many different aspects. So we are one human family living on one big planet, like one big house together, and the house is in trouble. So we have to work together to find all kinds of solutions to save all the issues that this house is in right now because it's dilapidating. So we need to be grateful that we are equipped with the tools that we have, because some people have no idea what's going on and they have no tools at all. And they're at the mercy of the loudest, most aggressive influence in their life. So, we need to be grateful that we are as savvy as we are, that we have the spiritual tools that we have the insight that we have, that we've been training our intuition. You know, that's been my hope, to train us for, God forbid, times that we're in, but here we are. Humility, like, we have a real job to do in our lifetime. And we've got to show up and serve our fellow brother and sister. It's not just about what can we manifest in our own career now. Where is my joy? Where is my happiness? Where's all my wealth? Where's all my possessions? Where's my hot husband? Like, for real, where is my hot husband? Now it's about, like, we're in an action movie, and it's like we've got the call to action, the call to adventure. It's like when the helicopter lands and they go grab John Cusack, and they're like, our country needs you, the White House is calling, like, well, you've got to do that, like, the aliens are here, like, there's some kind of like like volcanic threat coming, Sharknado, you name it, whatever it is. But it's like, we all are that John Cusack character that's like, what? I'm just a teacher, you know, like, I can't do this, like, what? And it's like you get caught up in this like high stakes like action plot. It's now, that's what this is. That's what this card is. So we have to have humility and realize we have a job to do. The world needs us to show up and help. So really embracing that and knowing that when we are servants of God, and that we have a divine mission, and that we will be protected, will be provided for, miracles will shield us, you know, but we can't take it upon ourselves. We have to be led, you know, we have to listen to that voice within to be told, you know, how to navigate these times and how to be there for one another, right? And so conscious action. We have to become more conscious in all of our actions now. But becoming more conscious of our actions will have a positive impact, you know, down to being conscious of what kinds of foods that we're buying and eating. Our food costs are probably going to go up with all these tariffs, and also with all the immigrant workers that have been deported, that's leaving crops rotting in the field, which is also going to raise food costs. Well, for a long time, we've really needed to cut back on the amount that we're eating and the amount of processed foods that we're eating. And this isn't the way that this is not a fun way for this to happen, but the positive upside, the silver lining in this will be that we need to become more conscious of how we're spending our money at the grocery store. So we need to, you know, aim our grocery shopping at not a lot of waste, not as much waste as we used to. That means we're going to be cutting back on all these processed snacks. You know, we need to be turning to whole foods. We need to be finding ways to support our immune system and our nervous system. So we need to be eating superfoods and whole foods and things that are good for us, that are going to combat what the chemtrails are doing to our nervous systems, what the overstimulus is doing to our nervous system. You know, we need to strengthen our immune system for all of the extra, like, viral threats that we have now. You know, we need to be thinking about the way that we buy food in a whole food form actually creates less, like, when we buy processed food, there is basically a whole factory system, like some commercial food system that goes into just making each ingredient, harvesting that ingredient, burning the fossil fuels to get it from point A to point B, sending it to packing plants and processing plants. Like, the amount of energy and exhaust and waste that is created by one tub of salsa that we could make from our own more natural whole ingredients, fresher ingredients. I mean, just if hundreds or thousands of people started just shifting in small ways like that, think about the impact, the positive environmental impact that would have. So becoming more creative and conscious about even our mundane choices and actions is not going to be unfamiliar. This has been something that I've been practicing for a while, you know, just as like a single woman. Like, things are expensive. And so you have to kind of navigate and be kind of like smarter with your money. If you're smarter with your money, you can make it go further and you can be wise with it and try to grow it. But if you are a person who's foolish with your money and you're like blowing it on everything and you're living on credit, this is not a sustainable model to live by. So we're going to have to start becoming more conscious in our actions, how those actions affect not only our future selves, but other people and our future generations, and how it affects the planet. I think we're going to starting to open ourselves up to that Aquarian tendency to think in terms of like the human community and the greater good for all and us as a collective rather than individual self-interest. And then honestly, I don't think we really need the tarot cards to go into a lot of but let's just get them real quick. So clarifying the cosmos, we have 5 of Pentacles. So the spiritual poverty in the world, the physical poverty in the world, the ways that we felled the world and left people out in the cold, humankind, the way that capitalism and greed and the war machine and everything has torn this planet apart and exploited the human body and spirit and soul. And so the cosmos is exposing these people. And unfortunately, when the world shakes, we all feel it. And so right now, even though, there's a lot of people feeling this way, this is why we need to, get together in our communities and take care of one another and give each other direction. Because, when people are desperate and they need control and they want to feel a sense of control, they're going to grab whoever's going to make them feel empowered. So this is a battle of the light and dark right now. So we want to nurture people and be there for one another and keep sowing seeds of love and healing and turning a corner and going towards progress. But yeah, the cosmos is really showing the balance, the checkbook, right? The balance sheet, right? And we have a lot of cosmic debt to pay back. Our actions create this cosmic currency and exchange. And when we take fulfillment and abundance and prosperity that we didn't earn, that creates interest to pay back, right? That's when people don't really talk about when you do spells and you force something to come to you, that actually costs you a little bit of chaos. You have to lose something in that process. It's like putting something on a cosmic credit card and it attaches interest to it. Same with our negative actions. It's like those build up and we have to repay that. We have to work that off. And so we're in this moment right now where it's like the audit is happening and cosmic IRS is showing up and it's going through our records right now. So that's what is happening in the moment. We really feel exposed, but I think, like they say, it's all going to come out in the wash. So if your heart is, where it should be, then you will be having a lighter experience. So as far as small steps and asking for help, we've got Two of Swords. So Two of Swords is feeling stuck. And it's feeling like you're in a stalemate and like you don't see the way forward, or you're refusing to see something that's right in front of you. So, don't let yourself become stuck in analysis paralysis. The air, especially the Two of Swords, can be that Libra tendency to keep going back and forth. And, I can see this side and I can see that side, or I can see the pros in this business move and the cons of this business move. And you're so worried about making the wrong decision that you never make any decision, and then you get stuck and frozen. So just keep taking small steps. When you are, like, say, in a cave and you can't see what's in front of you because it's really dark, you want to take little tiny steps so you can feel it out as you go and make sure that each step is solid and safe. It's kind of like that. It's like, instead of feeling overwhelmed like you can't take any steps, just take careful steps. All right, the Fire Prince, the Knight of Wands, aka the Fire Prince, shows up to clarify the Fire Prince. What does it mean, Fire Prince? More Fire Prince. So don't add more fire to fire, right? a lot of hot temper, a lot of hostile, aggressive energy can be in the air. You know, when people are passionate, they are passionate lovers and they're passionate haters. So people are very intense right now. So the volume is really getting turned up on the intensity. So how can we be a soothing balm in this to de-escalate, right? You know, there are benefits to being the Knight of Wands, but there are also like downsides, right? The Knight of Wands is a little bit impulsive. Like the Knight of Wands on a good side is excited, optimistic, ready to jump in, ready to take a risk, ready to be excited, right? Think about like, when you're in college and you're going off to college for the first time, or like you're doing something cool, like you're going off to like study abroad or deepening your studies and going for your master's, and you're like, yeah, I'm excited, I'm gung-ho, I can do this, or going on maybe like some crazy, adventure trip. But the thing is that like whilst there's all this gung-ho, piss and vinegar and motivation and energy, there's not a lot of discipline, and there's not a lot of perseverance, and there's not a lot of follow through. So we need follow through, we need perseverance, we need stick-to-itiveness. See how he's looking over his shoulder? The Knight of Wands can get easily distracted with like shiny object syndrome. And you can see this with like, sometimes with men who are fire signs and they don't have a lot of self-control. They have like so many ideas. They just want to go in like every different direction, and they need that feminine energy to rein it in and be like, focus. Especially with like entrepreneurs and creative people, they're like, oh, I want to do this and this and this and this and this. And it usually takes some more grounded people around them to be like, okay, rein it in. We need to take 3 of those things and focus. So in the romantic sense, this could be somebody who's a little bit of a playa, commitment issues, commitment phobe. So, we want to make sure that we're committed to our optimism, and that we're being grounded, and we're being emotionally sober. We're not hot-headed. We're not getting caught up in excitement either. That can be dangerous. And mob mentality, and when the stakes are high, people's fervor and anger can be every bit as dangerous as people's excitement and optimism as well. So either one, misguided, can be dangerous and weaponized. So be careful with yourself. Tune into your own conscience and your own understanding, or maybe not your own understanding, because that could be very misunderstood, but like your spiritual roots and your core values in those roots right now are important, except when they go into like extreme, ness, and when you get too zealous, so again, it's like that needs to be tempered. Everything needs temperance. So it's a lot of fire right now. Okay, and then last card, and then I'm gonna settle into my night, have a fun little evening in. We have the Hierophant. So how on point is it? The High Lord of Gratitude and Service and the Hierophant here. Our service is to be spiritual leaders and influencers to help guide other people that haven't been preparing for this kind of upheaval and change. If you've been watching this channel for the last couple of years, we've gone through this story arc together where we've been preparing for major shifts, major changes. I mean, we've been saying this is a new timeline. Whoa, boy. The old world, wow. I mean, like the quickness of the change. It's like we took out that freaking videotape and we put in a whole nother movie, and boy, is it a different timeline that we're in, or what? So a lot of people are just now kind of making changes, and because they have to, they're forced to at this point. Some people are just figuring out that something more is going on, and that there might be something, that other people are kind of catching on to that they're not. But we've all known that this shift is happening. It was very empowering to go to this astrology presentation tonight because it backed up everything that I had kind of been predicting in the prediction series. But it just gave me, it's like, okay, here are the small steps, and we're going to take it bit by bit. And these are the things that we can expect to see coming, but we're going to make it through the other side. And so it's like, if you kind of know what to expect, then you can brace yourself. But imagine being a person who has no plot points for the year. No idea what's coming, no idea why or what the context is or what they can brace themselves for. It's pretty hard, even for people of faith and who go to church and who pray. Not everyone who has faith and goes to church and prays has intuition and has insight and like understanding and wisdom and prophecy, right? So having understanding, and having a spiritual basis and believing in, a higher power and having that to lean on right now, but also having practices and tools in your tool belt. It's like we need to come at it from every angle right now that we have, of supporting ourselves and supporting one another and getting through this and sharpening our spidey senses and our discernment and our intuition. Because, even just with AI these days, just being able to look at something and see, okay, this is clickbait, this is bogus, this is real, this isn't, this is propaganda, this is fact, like this is, this is out of left field. Like, even just like watching the drone footage and the alien, like the UFOs and everything, and trying to figure out, like, are these real videos? Are people doctoring these? Are these AI? But like, honestly, like I saw a news broadcast of the orbs over Jersey, and they're talking about, they're like, we're trying to take like videos that people are sending us and try to like figure out what this is. So it's like, this is legit. Like, it's not just this trend that's like viral. It's like happening. So all this is happening. So we're showing up, we're being of service. This is what we've been called to do, is to be that to learn how to be spiritually sovereign over ourselves and then be that spiritual leadership within our communities. We're past the point of being able to blindly trust some of the organized, institutions, right? Because you're just getting, like, there's so many people that have been, for instance, traumatized by the church they grew up in because they were just exposed to that one pastor, that one church, who maybe had his own like issues and biases and things. And, we're having more ability to take, get sermons and ideas from all these different people now. So we're not just boxed in with our small one, exposure at one church, right? Because who knows where these people get their education? Some people just do it for a job. It's not really a calling. Like, some people, my mom was just telling a story about how she was talking to a pastor once about something, and he was like, oh, I haven't read that part in the Bible. And she was like, you haven't read the whole Bible? And you're a pastor. Like, didn't you go to Bible school? Like, what did you, like, and he's like, oh, I never read the whole thing. And my mom's read the Bible 5 times. And she has read different, like, the different versions of it, so she can see the different, and like, what is it called? Not the interpretations, but the amplified and this version and that version. Like, she's read them, the whole Bible, through 5 times. So some pastors haven't even done that. So you have to really, like, sometimes don't blindly give your trust over to a figure that's in a seated position just because of their position of power. That's where you have to develop that discernment, to take individuals by case basis, and not just trust the position that they're in blindly, because not all people are created equal for that position. Let's just put it that way. So I'm wrapping it up, reining it in, and calling it a night. But I think this was a really good reading, and it was really fun using these cards. So maybe I'll bust them out more often. What do y'all think? Take advantage of the 2025 prediction series. $10. The link's below. I would use Chrome and Stand Store. I think it can get sticky and freeze up with Safari. All right, y'all. Much love and peace, and I hope that you are doing well wherever you are. Ciao.